In these practice problems, we're looking at how did we get from one figure to the next using transformations. So if you look at the first example here, it asks to describe how rectangle ABCD can be carried onto its image A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. So if we look, we're starting with rectangle ABCD and we're trying to get onto this other rectangle. So the first thing I would do is look at the orientation, because if the orientation changes, that means that the reflection occurred. And if the orientation stays the same, it means it was either rotation or a translation. So the orientation is the order of the letters. So if I look at A to B, B to C, so I'm just going in alphabetical order. And then if I go the same order for the next one, A prime, B prime, so in alphabetical order. And then we look at the arrows here. All of my arrows are going in the same direction. They're all going in this clockwise direction. So since that's the case, that tells me that a reflection did not occur. So right away I can eliminate choices 1 and 2. And I have to decide, how did I rotate then? So if you look, the center of rotation is at 0, 0. And if you compare A to A prime, you know that it was a 90-degree rotation, but which direction? So if we're looking at A to A prime, we're going counterclockwise. So it's going to be number 4. And then for number 2, which single transformation is equivalent to this? Well, the first thing I would do is actually do this transformation or this composition so that you can see what happens. When we do compositions, remember we always do it in opposite order, so that means you're going to do this first, and then this one will be second. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reflect over the x-axis. So we're reflecting over this line here. So that means if we're reflecting over the x, we're going to count however many units it takes to get to the line. That's how many units we're going to go from it. So C prime will be here. A is 8 units to the line, so we're going to go 8 from it. And then B is 7 units, so go 7 more. And there's the first reflection. And then the second reflection is going to be over the y-axis, so over this line here. And we're going to take, whenever you do a composition, you always take whatever you got out of the first one. So I'm going to take out the first, or I'm going to take the second triangle here, the primes, and I'm going to reflect it over the y-axis. So C has to come over, so 1 unit, so it goes 1 unit from it, so that'll be C double prime. B was 4 units from the line, so I'm going to go 4 more. A, 1 unit, go 1 more. So here's the result. So what we're looking at now, if we're trying to say what single transformation is equivalent to this, that really means I'm comparing this triangle to the final image. So I don't really care about the in-between step anymore, because I want to know, how could I go from triangle 1 to triangle 2 using one transformation? So like the other ones, I would compare the orientation first. So go in alphabetical order. And if we look at the direction of the arrows here, you can see that they're going in the same direction. So that tells me we can't have a reflection that occurred to go from one to the other, because remember, reflections is what causes the orientation to change. But if you do a reflection, the orientation changed from triangle ABC onto the red triangle, but then it changed back to go from the red to the blue. So that's the only time that you can have reflections and have the orientation stay the same, is if you do reflections right after another. So then we look, and when I have to decide, did a translation occur or did a rotation occur? So if you look at triangle 1 compared to triangle 2, it wasn't just a slide down. There's an obvious turn here, because here the triangle has C at the bottom, here the triangle has C up top. So I can get rid of choice 3. And then if I just look, okay, well the center, if I say the center of rotation is at 0, 0, and then you compare C to C double prime, the rotation that would have had to occur would be 180 degrees. 90 degrees would have ended up in this quadrant over here. So there's 180 degrees to rotate. So it'd be choice number 4. And then this next example here, we're looking just to describe again the transformation that occurred, the composite transformation, meaning we took triangle ABC, then we got this in-between image, the in-between step, and then we use that to do another transformation to end up with triangle 3. So basically the first thing you see here is to go from this triangle ABC is just going to be a slide downward. It stays in the same position, same orientation. And then from there, to get from this triangle over to this triangle, well, if you look at the order of the letters, here we have A to B, B to C, and then you compare it, see how the arrows change. In one, they're going one way, and the other, they're going the opposite way. So that means a reflection occurred. So it means we had a translation, a slide down, and then we flipped it. So the answer would be first a translation and then a reflection. So it'd be choice number 1.